Proceed.
You
For the benefit and avoidance of doubt, if you go to Statute 24, Convocation, it shall be a convocation of there shall be a convocation of university which shall consist of blah blah blah. It shall be the responsibility of the registrar to maintain a register of members of convocation, which shall be published annually. So membership we can find out from registrar, and then we work 1/10 and see if we does constitute, then we will go ahead. Other than that, by statute, we cannot. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atta. I know the total number is 1,241 as of the last week when we checked. 1,241. With the last meeting, we had 186 that online joining. So that goes beyond the 10%. Today, the number here, there are others also joining online. So we are yet to pick up that number. But it's likely we should be beyond the 10%. Yeah. Because looking at the number here.
Okay. We'll give you benefit of the doubt. Mr. Chairman, the minutes, I have noticed that the chairman, members, and then pro-vice chancellor and finance officer are members in attendance. Is that the case? Are they members in attendance? I think I saw Professor Ellis Dabo and Nimobwa for. The idea is in attendance.
It was a Zoom meeting, so a few of us were physically present, and then others joined via Zoom. So that's what happened. They are all members, yes.
So the in attendance must go.
Okay, that's noted.
And Mr. Man, I have not finished. The statute says that at least we should have convocation. There should be at least 2 meetings of convocation. One of the meetings, the vice chancellor will have to present the state of the university, the direction. And I want to find out, today's meeting, is it the second meeting and it will be the last or what? Because we need clarification of this because it's by statute, and the statute is the law governing the university. So can you please give us that clarification before we move on?
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, we will have another meeting, and the Vice Chancellor will address convocation in that meeting, and that's likely to take place either September or October of this year. As you know, the academic year has been extended to December 31st. So we are within the academic year, and she will be doing that before the year ends.
Okay.
So please, let's finish with the minutes, and then those issues can come.
We'll finish the meeting.
Okay, so So the next slide, if there are any corrections. So the next one, the wellness team. If any corrections on this page, then yeah. Your name is wrong. Please repeat. Take note of the correction. Okay, to be corrected. His name is not properly written. Muntaga. Okay. Thank you. Next. The next one. I'm looking here. It's not picking. It's not picking. Control it from your end because this is not connecting.
Mr. Chairman, the presentation by the Pro Vice Chancellor, then, but if you look at the content, it says that Pro Vice Chancellor on behalf of the Vice Chancellor. If you look at the subject, it's like he himself doing the presentation, but the content is Pro Vice Chancellor spoke on behalf of the Vice Chancellor. I think it does not tally because in the statute it's only the Vice Chancellor who is to address. And Pro VC addressing on behalf of the Vice Chancellor, do we take it to be that is the Vice Chancellor's address or he was there in his personal capacity as a Pro Vice Chancellor? You get it? The heading, do you get it? You have to do something about it.
I think what happened, we invited the Vice Chancellor to be present with us. You know, the meeting was in two parts. Some of us were physically present, others joined via Zoom. We invited the Vice Chancellor to come. Last minute, she had another engagement. So she asked the Pro Vice Chancellor to represent her. And that's why it's captured that way. Okay. It wasn't. Okay, so it's noted. It's noted. It's noted. You know the challenges we have doing this thing via Zoom and others. We may have these challenges, so you just have to bear with us. Okay, next one. Okay. Okay, that's the end of the minutes. Those who joined us, may someone move for the acceptance of the minutes as the true records of convocation meeting. FO. Thank you, FO. Any seconder, please. There's somebody there. Please, your name. Have you gotten the name? AK Osefusu. Okay, thank you. We want to go straight to matters arising out of the minutes. The first one is the mutual health fund for members. We have that on the agenda, so it will be addressed. Members of the committee that we commissioned to work on that, they are here, so they'll be making a presentation this afternoon. The second one, the health walk and games, as we are aware, the restrictions are still there, so we've not been able to undertake either of these. Okay. 3, the use of the car park at the KNUST hospital. I think the place has been opened now and it is in use. Management has also procured the machines to be able to collect the tools at the place. They are yet to fix them. There are some challenges with that. But at the moment, the good news is that it's being used. So members can patronize that. Internet access at the faculty area. We've been informed by management that a company is currently working on the expansion of the internet service at the faculty area. So we are likely to see a great improvement very soon. And then staff ID cards. I think that was the people wanted a different, how do you call it, layout or something. The holder. Yeah, Kwapu is here to make a presentation to us on some suggested changes they want to make. So when we get to that point, they will show them to us. Promotions. Members at that meeting wanted to know what is being done about the online promotions. The management, as for UITS, is working on an app to facilitate that, so that once you put in your promotion, you can track it all the way to the final stage. So that is also being worked on. And then there was a question on the e-learning center. The e-learning center committee has been inaugurated. And I think this is an issue VC will talk a lot about, because currently it's being sponsored. GMPC has also put in some funds to improve that. So when it comes to the Vice Chancellor's turn, she will address that. And then transportation of staff to Obuasi. I think I hear there is great improvement now. Some vehicles have been given. The last meeting, people were complaining we had this, how do you call it, urban bus that was conveying members to Obuasi, and members were not very happy about that. But I think the situation has improved since. Otherwise, members here can make us aware of the current situation. I think these are the issues I have captured from matters arising. So we move straight to agenda for today. Okay, agenda for today. We move to the first on the agenda. We want to talk about the mutual fund, mutual health fund, and the committee is here. So I'll invite Dr. Muntaka to address members of Convocation.
Good afternoon. While the slides are coming up, let me say good afternoon to the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar, the FO, and all the senior members who are here. It's always a pleasure and humbling to be called upon to address an August House like this. We are the Mutual Health Committee, and we like to thank the Council of Convocation for calling us to duty to look at what can help every member to survive. The committee is made up of 6 people as listed, and I was honored to be called the chairman. The work was done by all of us, and we started by looking at the background, why we needed a mutual health fund. And among the issues that came to light, we had a situation where members acknowledged that our conditions of service covered some significant parts of our health needs. There were a few others that were not captured. And then approval usually took more time than some members will normally like. Members expected faster approval than the university could possibly give, because there is a committee on health that has to approve every request. They have to look at the request and approve it, and sometimes it takes longer than members usually like. However, these are university processes, and bending them creates challenges, because then sometimes being able to accommodate everybody becomes a challenge. But if it is a standard, it gives everybody peace. So that also came up. One of the things that we also found to be a big challenge in the interactions was that members having to foot the bills out of pockets so that they are reimbursed later created some significant challenges for some members. Then it also came to light that spectacles, dentures, hearing aids, prosthetics for spouses and children were not covered under our current condition of service. So we were first to propose a mutual health fund that will cater for some of these challenges. And so we are humbly putting before this August House a name that we call the KNUST Mutual Health Fund. If so accepted, then that becomes the name of the fund, and then henceforth we will just call it the Mutual Fund for easy communication. Now, to begin looking at what should be the situation, we tasked our actuaries, Dr. Yao Elikem Ayekpele, and his team to look at what are some of the things we can do by way of payments to be able to meet the demands that members will have. We did this with the background that we have been down this road before. What do we do differently so that the challenges that the initial fund, the proposed fund faced, we don't face the same thing? So we started off by looking at claims over the last 5 years, and we were looking at the percentage change. So you find that the base was 2015, and we looked at the claims all the way to 2020. And we find that in 2020, even though there was COVID, we were expecting that total claims will be 4,041,037 with 99 pesos. So this became a guide to what we sought out to do. So we looked at the staff strengths. Members of Convocation are generally senior members, and these figures are as provided by the HR department of the university. So currently we have 1,241 senior members, constituting 31.91% of total staff. Again, this is the basis of our proposals, and that's why we had to present it. Like I said, if we look at the claims between 2015 and 2020, we realize that on the average, we were spending these figures. So for senior members, SM is senior members, JS is junior members, SS is senior staff, and then SM is senior members. PS. Pension, staff on pension, the PS. And so putting this, looking at these figures from 317,000 a month all the way to 1.2, we were looking at what it is that we can do to deal with these figures without having to run through all the challenges that we will normally have. And so, next slide. Again, we looked at this in terms of percentage change and the increments. These are figures that I am sure when members get the presentation, they can appreciate. If we went through them right now, many people will not appreciate, but at least we are providing the basis and the reasons for the conclusions we arrived at, so that if any member has any question or any suggestion, the member understands the basis upon which all the proposals we have put across are based on. And we will welcome contributions through the Council of Convocation. So, using a growth factor of 1.64, we realize that, okay, if we want to project an amount that we have to set aside that will allow members to be able to access health care without having to go through all the wait for approval, this is not covered, spouses are not covered, children are not covered. We looked at this projection, and we used 2018 as a base, but the 2021 is what is of interest here, because that is what will project us into the future. It means that we will need an average 2.9 million set aside before we can be able to take care of everybody's needs. And so on account of this, we proposed, if you look at the total number of senior members, and we are looking at individuals, it means that an individual should be able to contribute 1,200 per year or 100 cedis per month. If we wanted to add family members, then we will need 2.2 million, and for that matter, we were looking at 150 Ghana cedis per month. Now, one of the questions that came up immediately was, are we going to pay this in perpetuity? Because if I have to contribute 100 cedis per month until I die, then it means I am better off staying wherever I am. Now, when we look at the actuarial figures, it means we came to the conclusion that if every member paid 100 cedis or 150, if we want to include the family for 3 years, we will be able to cover everybody and we will be growing the fund and members will not have to contribute. So one of the things we are proposing, as you will see in later slides, is that we are humbly putting before this August House that you accept that we pay either 100 cedis per month or 150 cedis for 3 years. And then you are done paying. You become a full-fledged member who has to benefit. There are a few nagging issues that are at the end that we will look at. So the question is, if this is accepted, how will we manage these funds? We are proposing a 2 or 3 level management for the operation. At the top is the Council of Convocation, and they shall be responsible for supervising and controlling the operations of the fund. We were also thinking that in terms of investment, it is sad that the yellow that was used is not looking too bright. But we were thinking that because GOS is already investing our pensions and is responsible for generating money to take care of our pensions, we may consider as Convocation giving the GOS board the responsibility of managing these funds too in terms of investment and growing it, because our belief is that they are already in that business and therefore they may do better than any committee we will put in place to do it. But we proposed an operations committee, and our proposal is that we need to overcome some of the challenges that the current condition of service presents. And that is to say, you must go through all the university approval processes before you can even get the funds. We want to deal with that and make it such that you can be able to get a decision between 12, even less than 12, depending on the condition at stake, and maximum 36 hours. It shouldn't go beyond 36 hours. And we expect an operations committee to be able to do this. We want decisions that are real time. You need it. This is the amount that you need. The committee gives the approval, and then they go through the process of getting the university to approve. And here we were also proposing that the university should make a list of what is covered and what is not covered, so it's clear, and then the decisions can be fast. Because whatever is not covered, we are hoping that this fund will cover it. So based on our current conditions of service now, what are we covering? What are we not covering? If it is as clear as black and white, then straight away this fund knows which of these items we are going to cover from the fund and which ones we will process for the university to refund. That will take away the burden of members having to struggle to look for funds. All it may be at the end for the university to say, oh, you know what, this is not under your condition of service and therefore we cannot cover it. We want this fund to provide that cover for members. So we expect the operations committee to be a 7-member committee. In fact, we proposed its membership. We will come to it. Next slide. So we believe that the operations committee will be senior members who are required to make direct monthly contributions. We will have one spouse. These are the things they will consider. The senior member who is making the contribution, a spouse, and 6 registered children. Members will be free to choose from the underlisted packages. We were looking at the individual at 100 or family at 150. My humble proposal is that we pick a standard so that everybody is covered by same. If we all go for 150, excellent. So that once you are a contributor, your family benefits, those who are registered with the university. Next slide. The monthly contributions are proposed at 100 cedis or 150 like we have mentioned, and then we are expecting that we will be able to cover expenses beyond 3,000, because what came out in our interactions is that when expenses are less than 3,000, members are usually able to take care of it, even if the university will refund later. Those ones that create those headaches are those ones that go beyond 3,000. So whether local or international, as soon as it goes beyond 3,000, straight away we will move, the fund will move into to cover you up, pay up, and then if it is a refundable expense, the university will reimburse us. And if it is not a refundable expense, already that is why you are a member of the fund. You are covered. Next slide. Okay, so the mode of access is that the fund shall cover provision of dentures, hearing aids, artificial limbs for spouse and children, for treatment abroad, and all other approved treatment. Staff and dependents will go through the usual university routine and process. However, this is when the amount required will go beyond $20,000. Next slide. I'm sure it's in one of the slides. We are proposing that you go through the process when the amount is going beyond $20,000 for treatment abroad. How did we arrive at this $20,000? We used a kidney transplant that we thought that when we checked the rates across the world, we found that kidney transplant was running between $8,000 and $12,000. In India, in most places, you get it at $8,000, and then in the US and other places, it's $12,000. And then we were thinking that you will need plane fare, and you may need a family member to go with you, and therefore a cap of $20,000 is proposed for consideration. And our belief is that this $20,000 will not need any prior approval. Once you are to go abroad for treatment and it is within $20,000, the fund will just give you the money. And then we will deal with all the paperwork if the need be, or we will cover you. If it is going beyond $20,000, then we will expect the university to come in and perhaps through the process of review and approval support us in the difference. There were a few issues of concern, and then we had some proposed answers. And we want to see, first of them is, should members leave the fund and at what age? Because as we engage some members, this was one of the issues that members were very particular about. Our proposal is that members should not leave the fund. Once you join and you have paid for the 3,000, you have paid for the 3 years, you are good. You can be on till God calls you. We don't think you should leave. However, if a member decides to leave, we are saying that a severance package will be given based on a formula that is approved by the Council of Convocation, so that your contribution does not go waste. How long, hold on please, how long should we contribute before benefit is given? What we call the fallow period. And we are proposing 1 year. And the reason why we propose the 1 year is that we are 1,241. We worked with a situation where 1,000 members are on. 1,000 members are on. So that will give us, if we were contributing 150, that will be 150,000 per month. Multiply that by 1 year, we will have 1.8 million. We believe that if we are able to set a base of 1.8 million before we started taking care of members, we will be able to cover every expense. Looking at the actuals, the base figures we used, the projections into the future. So if we don't allow the money to accumulate, and right from the word go, we start taking care of members, then the fund will not be sustainable. For sustainability purposes, we need a base of either 1.2 million if we are doing individual or 1.8 million if we are doing family. So we believe that waiting for 1 year as a fallow period will give us this cover. How do we treat members who are coming in? Any member who joins also must contribute for the 3 years. However, their first year will be their accumulation, and so they will benefit only after they have contributed for 1 year. This will take care of new staff, new lecturers, new administrators who will come on board. As for the coverage, we believe that we will cover refundable and non-refundable up to, for treatment abroad, up to $20,000 as I indicated earlier. What happens to members who retire without making a request? Again, a severance package will be given to them so that their monies is not consumed without they benefiting. Thank you very much. We are hoping that we will have inputs, suggestions on making this better. I am grateful for your time.
Thank you, Dr. Muntaka. We open the floor for interactions on this one.
My name is Dr. Stephen Kofi Sondem. I have 2 questions. The first one, if a member joins and decides to leave, you are suggesting that there should be a package for that person. Should that person enjoy this package even when he has benefited from the fund? Maybe the person has gone outside for treatment, which may cost about $20,000, and he decides to leave. Must he also be given any package? That is one. The second one is, it has escaped me, sorry.
Okay. In fact, this is a question that I believe is a decision for convocation, because we are a committee of convocation, and we don't have the authority to make orders, but in our minds, it's a no. Once you benefit, that's it. When you decide to leave, you go without any package because you have benefited already. If members sanction that, then it becomes the law.
Thank you very much. I am getting confused in a sense that I don't know whether what we intend doing, does it mean that university in certain circumstances will not reimburse us with the money that we have spent as to why this fund? Is that the case? Because I'm thinking that as a members of staff, it's the responsibility of the university to refund or reimburse any expenses. It does not have limit per condition of service. It does not have limit, members of staff. But sometimes university may not have money. University has to go to chief of staff, and it will be difficult to get money at that time. So they said, go and come, and they will refund. So if you're a member of staff and then we join, and then you do not have money, we'll go into the fund, we'll get you money, you go, then we take the money from investor, come and put it where it is. It seems we want to combine the two, and then, like the university does not have the responsibility on us. That's not the case. Actually, looking at our condition of service, it is what you said, medical aid, limbs and other things, that does not cover our children. You understand? So that one, you cannot, the university will not reimburse you. But as members of staff of the university, it is the responsibility of the university without limit per our conditions of service to reimburse us. So when we have, you are going, you do not have money, the fund then gives you money, then the fund go and take the money, come and put it where it is. But when it is with your children, where they do not, then we'll look at it, you understand? But this one too, we want to encourage the union leaders, the association leaders, that it should be part of our conditions of service. Because I am here. I have worked throughout my life in this university. Then you said, my children can go to TEK hospital, but there are certain facilities you will not give it to them. When you go to other institutions, their children enjoys everything that their father is also doing, enjoying. So the union leaders, we want to encourage you to push it forward, because I am aware that TEU, recently when we made fair wages, we have insisted and we have agreed that government will take 50% of the of whatever our children will be spent on our children will be reimbursed. We're requesting for 100, and they said now that we are starting, it should be 50. So we want to entreat GAWA and UTAG to also put for the same, so that at the end of the day, all of us will be covered, and then the issue of this fund will even move it to our retirement. You understand? So let us be clear that staff, you are covered, university, but your children, that does not cover. I think I've made myself clear.
Okay, thank you very much. I think it is exactly what the fund seeks to do. That anything covered by the university, we will provide you the funds, and we will complete the process and get the reimbursement from the fund. You will agree with me that as we speak, there are aspects of healthcare that our children and spouses don't benefit. We benefit. So we want to take that headache from members, that whether it is you, your spouse, or your children up to 6, I have a challenge with 6 because mine is 7. Okay, but that's by the way. So what we are seeking to do with this fund is that you don't have to ever worry about medical bills. That's the essence. We are not leaving anything to say, oh, this should have been reimbursed by the university, but the university shouldn't. I think it's going to be an engagement that is mutual. The university will reimburse us for all the bills that are reimbursable, and we will cover it for you for those ones that are not. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I have 2 questions. One, I think the rationale of a year contribution to have some base amount. But if one decides that I can contribute for 12 months as sport, can he qualify for the benefit from day one? Because this is a huge concern when we are talking of health. That's one issue. The second issue is the approval process we were talking about. The issue is the time frame. It doesn't mean that it will take a whole year. So the base amount you use, 4-point-something billion, was for a year. But I was expecting that if it will never take 2 months to get a refund, then that gap is what we need to have a fund to take care of, so that we don't need to wait for the 2 months. But our base shouldn't be for the whole amount, the amount for a whole year, because we don't wait for a year to get a refund. I hope I'm clear.
Yes,
yeah.
Please. Thank you very much. I have my other members here. If anybody wants to chip anything in, the person is invited. But let me respond quickly to your first point about if I want to contribute all of it at a go. The fund must grow. The money has to grow. So if we say everybody should contribute to this money at a go, and everybody does, this money will start depleting. So the idea is that in that 1 year, as the money accumulates, the money is invested. By the end of the year, even though we are targeting 1.8 million or 1.2 million, depending on which package we take, we are going to have even more than the 1.8 million. At that point, when people are putting in their claims, we will be able to bear it. please, I want to draw your attention to the fact that we are not just looking at staff. As for you, the university will cover you, no matter if it is 2 months, 1 month, 2 weeks. What of your wife? What of the children? On the issues, on the things that the university does not cover. So you see that here we have reimbursable monies and non-reimbursable ones, those ones that will cover our spouse and children. So our proposal is that that fallow period allows us to invest, allows us to see the growth of the money, allows us to be able to accumulate a base. When you start off something with weak legs, it is easy to crumple. But when it is solid, I want to believe my seniors from biology will tell you that when a tree is 5 years old, how much weight you can put on it will not be the same as if it is 10 or 15 or even 20. So that is why we are proposing humbly that the fallow period be allowed to be 1 year so that we have a solid base upon which to start. And then your second question.
I think to further add to what Alaji is saying, I think we should also open up for more debate. If it's already functioning, assuming we've started, it's already functioning, then in that case, what he's saying can be factored into it, because but then we have gone through the fallow period already. So assuming it's a new faculty, that is coming, then they can choose to pay off and join without going through the fallow period. Probably the initiators have gone through already. I think we can consider that as part of it. Yes, that's what I'm saying, is for us to discuss. Applies to everybody, even if it's functioning.
Yeah. Thank you. That is Dr. Sechi, the committee secretary. I think the fallow period should be allowed. We look at all the actuaries. In fact, you can engage our actuaries and he will give you more explanation on why we need the fallow period. I think it should be a standard. You join, you contribute for 1 year. Otherwise, like my professor is saying, people will just wait. When they see a condition, then they will come and pay upfront $1,200, and yet they are expecting you to cover them for $20,000. At that point, we will feel cheated, humbly. And I don't think we should allow that.
All right. Okay. So thanks for the excellent presentation. But I have 2 questions and a suggestion. The first one is, based on your initial analysis, it means that this whole thing, correct me if I'm wrong, this whole thing is based on the number of contributors, based on the actuarial scientists, right?
Yes.
So, did you consider a situation whereby if you were to deal with an insurance company that has millions of subscribers, which is doing something similar, perhaps what could be the benefits that we could gain vis-a-vis our contribution? That's number 1. Number 2, certain institutions already do something similar. I know NAT and other people do that. Did we look at theirs and what they get and whatever, what the conditions are, so that we could learn from that? And my third one is in relation to the suggestion you brought. This idea is to deal with things that the university refunds and things that are not covered by the university. So when you brought a situation where people could leave and what their benefits should be, I think that if we are deciding, it should be based on technical reasons and not necessarily what majority of us will think. For instance, if an individual makes claims which are later reimbursed by the university, then it means that when he's leaving, he should get everything, because that was covered by the university mathematically. But if an individual made claims which included things which were reimbursed by the university and those which were not, then I'm sure our risk people can do the calculations and deal with that accordingly. That is all that I want to say.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me start with the last one, and then I'll work backwards. Like we said, we are humbly presenting what we have been able to think about to Convocation. None of the decision is ours. If it is the suggestion, or if it is the decision of Convocation that if somebody has only benefited from reimbursable treatments, then when the person is leaving, we should give the person a severance package. For we, the committee, we have nothing against that. We are here to humbly present what we have thought about. In terms of the comparison with other insurance companies to see if what they are giving or what they are doing is not the same, we did look at what is the need creating, what is creating this need. And one of the things we arrived at is quick decision. Quick, how quick a decision can be arrived at. Some of those who have insurance with other companies can bear me out if I am lying. I had to deal with one this morning because I was trying to clear a bill for somebody who has passed on. They want to review everything to see whether we paid this, we don't pay this, the itemized bill. And our issue is that they may be giving exactly what we are giving. But the thing is that the premium may be higher and you may have to wait longer for the decision. With this one, and that would defeat the purpose. With this one, the aim is that as soon as a condition arises and the committee receives your information, within 2 hours, 1 hour, 12 hours, whatever, they are able to convene and then give you a decision, and then the money is advanced to you, while we take our time to finish off all the other paperwork that will have given you the headache. So my thinking is that this, in a way, is a superior offering, because we cover everything you will go through, and at the same time we give you quick decision at lower premium. The other insurance companies may give you something similar or better, but the decision may not be as quick as this one. Yes.
I think to further add to the insurance issue, we compared and we realized that that one is on a yearly basis. So immediately the year ends, your money goes down the drain, and you've lost everything, you have to start again. So that have effect on the price. So we checked that one and we realized that this one is better off compared to the insurance. We did not check from NAT to see what they are doing. So maybe this is not a final document yet, so we can visit their document and see if they have something that can help improve our documents. We did not check for now. Thank you.
Council Chairman says we take 2 more. I don't have the authority to say that. So let me give it to him so he says it himself.
Yeah, so you speak. We want to take 2 more, and then we will create a link where people can make further suggestions. And then we'll call one meeting, which will purposely be for this mutual fund alone. Otherwise, we will dwell on this one alone till, I don't know. What's your view on that? Yeah. So let's do that.
And I think I also agree with him, because this is just for consensus building. And the final committee, operations committee document, the modalities will be shared around, so that if you have further input, you can make before the final one will come out. Thank you. So 2 more questions, and I think we should be done.
Please help me understand something. If I begin to contribute for myself and my family, and in the course of the fallow period, I am no more, what happens to my money? 2, if after the fallow period and I am no more, for how long will my family continue to enjoy my contribution? Thank you.
I will be sincere with you. We didn't think about that. But that is a good food for thought, a very useful one. And fortunately, this is just the first presentation. As we receive comments and contributions, we can, sometimes if you don't have a comment and you even have a contribution that to answer a certain question that was raised, Once you send it through that link, we will incorporate that into it. And when the final document is presented here, then all of us can gladly approve it, and then we move on.
Well, my name is Prof. S.M. Saki. If a member benefits from the fund once, let's say to the tune of $20,000, how many months or even years will have to elapse before the same person or member of his family can again benefit? Have you thought about it?
Again, like I said, I'll be honest, we didn't think about it, but sincerely, we didn't think that it should have a limit. What we will look out for, what we expect the committee to look out for is the medical condition still persistent? If it is, does it need treatment? If yes, we cover you. That's why you are part of the fund. But of course, we will take it on board and think through it and look at the suggestions that in fact, there were 2 questions, but I'm sure with Council Chairman's permission.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but Mr. Chairman, I don't intend to struggle with you for supremacy, but I think that one of the problems facing Convocation is that anytime we meet decision, it will be inconclusive. Then later on, if you are not careful, it will not even come back again. We are aware that previously your predecessors wanted to set up a provident fund. You understand? We didn't know where it ended, even though it has been discussed here. Now it's very shameful for senior members to go to provident fund to get loans from there. You understand? From junior staff and senior staff, small monies. You understand? And we keep on getting complaints. So I think that once we have had the opportunity to have the Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and Finance Officer in our midst, and what we are discussing will help us, I think we should have allowed, you understand, because if it's academic board, we can close at 7 or 8 o'clock. But when this one affecting us, you said we should stop. You understand? So, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman,
maybe
I want to plead that can we, it's like we are looking at only health. Can we also look at other side, you understand? Where we can come in for a loan, you know, to build our houses, and we have to look at that one because I know some professors who for the past 10 or 15 years have never fall sick before. They do not go to TEK hospital. No, they are not, always they are fit. You understand? But we also need somewhere. So if Convocation will accept and look at it that way, it will help. Then my contribution towards my brother said insurance. Don't let us go to insurance. Do not let us go to insurance. KNUST, we can say that our financial regulations, if you take all the universities, it works. We know University of Ghana, somebody took their provident fund and run away. It is not the case in Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. And we should also be mindful of what has happened to Kosi Noom and other people, where credit unions in Ghana, we have chunk of monies there, and now those monies are not traceable. You understand? Credit union, KNUST have not less than old money, 70 billion with them, and it's nowhere to be traced. So once we have GOS and we have professional people managing it, like the committee has suggested, let's give everybody there, and then we keep it. Don't let us think of any insurance company. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think Chairman of Convocation has indicated that this should be the last. It's a useful comment. The first part about we closing at 7, from where I sit, I also know that meetings have been capped at 2 hours. Vice, please, am I right? So on that account, we cannot go beyond 2 hours or at most 3. Thank you. I've forgotten your question sincerely. So on that account, let me thank all of you for listening to me. I am humbled and honored.
Thank you, Dr. Muntaka and his team. As I've hinted already, we would, Mr. Atta, we want to assure you that this is a project we want to see to, if Convocation gives us approval, to see to its implementation before we leave office in December. So it will come to pass. Prof. Forson, you wanted to say something?
Chairman, can we put it to vote? Which direction are we going? 150 or 120? Can we put it to vote?
What do members say?
It should be straight.
Okay, so I think we will look at it. I want to promise, we are in August. We should do that in September. We should call another meeting in September purposely for the Mutual Health Fund. We can see that the interest is very high, and we will ask the committee to wrap up their work so that we can move on with the vote and all that in September. Thank you very much. The second item is a presentation from GOS. And I can see Mr. Fred Essien here and he's chairman. So the floor is all yours. Let's welcome him to the podium.
When you want next slide, then we'll change it for you. Signal, watch it. The pointer is not working. So the next, just signal when it's next slide. Because it's line by line. Okay.
Good afternoon, colleagues. I'm here to present the status of Ghana University Staff Superannuation Scheme. The outline I will introduce you to some rudiments of pensions. I'll talk about pension types that we have. I'll also talk about history of pensions. Then I will explain the GUSSS. I'll make it very short. The slides will be available for you. Yeah. So then there are some few things that we have to understand. You see, that will make the questions. Then we talk about the current status that we have in terms of the unified goals. We talk about the benefits of the unification. Then KNUST goals, the status, then we conclude. As I'll skip a whole lot of things. Pension is an arrangement between employer and employee, that you'll be making contributions when you are employed, and when you are out of service, then the scheme is supposed to take care of you. And basically, we have two types of pension schemes. So far as benefit is concerned, there's one that is called defined benefit pension scheme. And we also have defined contribution pension scheme. If you say a pension scheme is a defined benefit, what it means is that you know how much you receive when you retire. Your benefits is based on a formula. So your contributions doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter how much you contribute to the scheme. So far as you qualify for pension, your benefit will be determined by a formula. So any pension scheme that seeks to benefit the employee, so far as a formula is concerned, is called Defined Benefit Pension Scheme. So Social Security is a Defined Benefit Pension Scheme. GUSS is a Defined Benefit Pension Scheme. The Defined Contribution Pension Scheme is a type that depends on how much you contribute and how much you earn in terms of investment returns. So defined contribution means that you know how much you are contributing, but you know how much you get when you retire, because it depends on what? The returns from the investment. So Provident Fund is a defined contribution pension scheme. Credit Union is a defined contribution pension scheme. When it comes to the employer thinks that defined benefit pension scheme is expensive. So most employers are running away from the defined benefit pension scheme to defined contribution pension scheme. So we have a third type that is called a hybrid pension scheme that combines the advantages and disadvantages of both pension schemes. So with the National Pension Act that introduced the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, it's a hybrid pension scheme. The Tier 1 currently is being managed by SNIT, and that will be used to pay you your monthly pension when you retire. Then the defined contribution, that's the Tier 2, will pay you a lump sum. So the new pension scheme is trying to combine the defined benefit pension scheme and the defined contribution pension scheme. GUSSS was established in 1961-62. It was a successor of what we call Federated Superannuation Scheme for Universities, which was established in 1913 in the UK for all Commonwealth universities. So if you are from one Commonwealth nation and you move to another Commonwealth nation, you move with what? Your pension. So when universities was established during the 50s, in 1961-62, we established a Ghanaian version of what you call the Ghana University Staff Superannuation Scheme in 1961-62. As at that time, we were having UJ, UCC, and UST at that time. Initially, the idea was that it can help us to attract, retain, and motivate high caliber of staff. And also, it will also help us in terms of what? Transferability. So if you are from KNUST and you are going to UG, you move with your pension. But when it came, UG decided to manage their own, UCC managed their own, and KNUST also managed their own. So as a public university is being added, individual universities started managing their own. And the new Pension Act that came, I've skipped so many things. The new pension that came in 2008, that is called the National Pensions Act 766, listed a number of pension schemes that should cease to exist within 5 years of its implementation. It was implemented in 1st January 2010. What it means that GUSSS was part of that list. So there are other pension schemes that we have. We have CAP 30, the military have their own pension scheme, fire service, customs. So all these pension schemes, according to the Act, from January 1st, 2010, should cease to exist up to 31st December 2014. So VCG, as at that time, constituted a board called the Joint University Goals Management Board, who was supposed to, that was a representative from all the universities, the goals boards from all the universities. The idea was to make sure that GUSS should continue to exist. We've had several interactions with National Pension Regulatory Authority, NCT at that time, Ministry of Education, Finance, and Labor and Employment. And the main thing that they were talking about is that they don't know KNUST GUSSS, UG GUSSS. So if we are coming to, in terms of wanting the GUSS to continue, then we should unify. So the committee was set up in 2010, and the idea is what? To unify all the public universities GUSSS. Now we are 16 in number. And in the, last year, August, there was a cabinet meeting that said that all security agencies are no more going to SNET. It meant that only GUSS that will be sent to SNET from 1st January 2021. So when we heard that we have an interim management board, we met with the unions, that is GAWA and UTAG. So the decision was that then we should also liaise with our sector minister. So myself and Professor Ademensa, we met the then Minister of Education. He bought into the idea that, oh, okay, then if that is the case, we should send him a position paper on that. Then he will put a cabinet memo on it and send it to cabinet for approval. That was in November. Immediately, the committee met and we sent the report to him. From his own volition, he decided to add it to the Public University Bill. So if you look at the Status 29 of the Public University Bill, GUSSS was placed there. So if the bill would have been passed, they would have had a law backing us as what? The GUSSS. But unfortunately, the bill didn't see the light of the day. And immediately the minister wrote to us that he can't push the unification agenda. So because then that means that GUSS as stands now, even though nobody has written to us that go to SNET, but we don't have any law backing us. So the committee met again, and the decision was that then we should liaise with the new minister. So on 8th January, UTAG and GAWA wrote to the minister, the Labor Commission, that they want to strike. So they gave some 3 weeks. The commission invited VCG, UTAG and GAWA, and the Ministry of Finance, Education, and Labor and Employment. We met them 3 times, but the key people, that is the Ministry of Finance, people didn't come. Ministry of Education too was not there. Labor and Employment was not there. So the decision of the chairman was that UTAG and GAWA should hold on the strike, but he himself is going to see to it that the next meeting that they will call, you make sure that the key people are available. So the current status is now is that when you look at the GUSS now, even though nobody has written to us that go to SNET, but on paper there's nothing backing us, but we are existing. So now the idea is that we are now unified. So we have 16 universities now. The idea is that now we will do common project, and it's going to be NC. So whatever you put in is whatever you will get. So till the unification is totally complete. So now the new universities are contributing to the unified account. KNUST was chosen as the national secretariat. So GUSSS secretariat is the national secretariat for the unified office. We have an interim management board that consists of all the chairpersons of the various boards. So that is the current state of the unified GOS. And some of the benefits of the unification is that there will be easy mobility of staff. So when you move from KNUST to Tamale, so far as it's a contributing university, you continue with your pension. So and one of the major decisions is also that when those who will not qualify for pension, there are several ways that individual universities calculate their pension. That one also has been addressed. And also, those who are on social security but will not qualify for pension because of their age, because you have to do 15 years before you qualify. Because of their age, the committee or the board has decided that they can contribute as a tier 3 when somebody mentioned a provident fund for senior members. So that tier 3 can also is also another way that those who are with social security are not, but will not qualify for pension, can also contribute through the tier 3. And one of the benefits is also that we have some universities with assets. We have some universities with cash. So when it comes to, when we combine, then those with assets can cover those with less assets, and those without cash can also cover those with what? Without cash. So when it comes to investment, KNUST, our investment, every pension scheme should have what we call statement of investment policy. Our investment policy was that we invest in hostels. In pension management, for effective financial management of pension scheme, you have to ask yourself 2 questions. 1, what type of pension scheme are you managing? Then, if it is a defined benefit pension scheme, then you have to think long term. So that is why our investment is what? In long-term projects. Because if you employ somebody at the age of 30, the person will contribute to the scheme for 30 years. And after 30 years, the guarantee period is what? 80 years. It's 80. So the pension will continue to enjoy pension till 80. If the person decides to leave after 80, the pension will pay the pension till he decides to what? To die. So so far as the pension scheme is there, if the person lives up to 100 years, 105, 120, the scheme will continue to what? To pay the person. So what you should ask yourself is that what type of pension scheme are you managing? If it is a defined benefit pension scheme, that the person will contribute for a number of years, and the scheme will also take care of the person for that number of years, then you have to think of what? Long term. So if it's a defined benefit pension scheme, you think of what? Long-term projects. So that is why KNUST, we started with what? The hostel business. And with the hostels, currently we have 5 hostels. That is, we started with the old Brunei, we added new Brunei, we added the baby Brunei. And I learned the name came out in 1999 when the Sultan of Brunei visited Ghana. When we started, it was purely for foreign students. And we were charging 1,500 per student. So Katangis went and colonized the place and said, no, if you don't have money, you can't what? You can't come here. Then they named it Brunei. And we added another, it took us 4 years, 3.5 years to recover our investment. And we added another one, and they call the first one Old Brunei, the second one New Brunei. That one also took us 4 years to recover. Then we built the third one. The third one was also, they named it Baby Brunei. It took us 7 years to recover our investment. Then Hall 7, as at that time, Hall 7 was a university project, and it got stuck because of GET fund issues. So then the USS has to come in and take over the assets and liabilities. So we completed it, so that it was an arrangement between USS and the council. So we completed it, and that's why we also have what? The Hall 7. And we built the third one that you see over there, that is called Complex. So we have the Brunei Complex that consists of 6 blocks. So in all, we have about 4,707 bed space. And the idea, because I was talking about the statement of investment policy, the idea is that when you ask yourself the type of pension scheme you are managing, if it's a defined benefit, then it has to be long term. So when it comes to defined benefit, we call in financial management, we call matching. You have to match your assets and what? Your liabilities. We pay a quantum of money in terms of lump sum to members who retire every year. So what we do is that then the inflow that we will get from the hostels will be matched against that liability. That means that we will be able to what? Knock it off. Then you look at your recurrent expenditure. Our recurrent expenditure is what we pay the pensioners every year. Since the USS was re-established in 1976, the government has been paying the pensioners every year. It was only 2018 February that the government decided not to pay the pensioners. So all the inflows that were coming also included the money that we were used to pay what? The pensioners. So since February 2018, the USSS has been using its own funds in paying pensioners. Now we have about 585 pensioners, and it's costing us 1.2 million every month. And KNUST in 2014, there was an agreement between UNER Council and KNUST Council that UNER should contribute towards their pension and it should be added. So when it comes to GUSS now, UNER and KNUST are combined. So UNER is also contributing about 535,000 every month. So when you put the two together, we have about 2.2 inflows. Then we pay about 1.277 every year. So the net inflows that comes to us is about 953,000 Ghana cedis. So since February 2018, we have been paying the pensioners pension every month. So previously, that excess money were mostly being used to what? Invest in the hostels. So with the 2.2 million, assuming the 1.2 million that we are paying to pensioners has been coming from Ghana, then we would have had excess funds to do more investment. Right. So now that we've been able to hit about 4,700, the investment policy was that let's hit 5,000. But 4,700 is close to 5,000. So what it means is that at least the inflows can be used to pay the gratuity or the lump sum every year when people retire. Then the monthly inflows that we get from contributions, that's in terms of members' contribution and employers' contribution, we will use it to pay the monthly pension. So we've been able to knock off the gratuity with the investment that we have. So now that we've hit 4,700, the idea is that now we are going to look at some recurrent inflows. So things that we can do that can give us monthly inflows so that we will not even depend on what? Our contributions to pay off the pensioners. So the management agreed to go into what we call water project. So very soon you see KNUST water. So at now when we were coming in, we were served with Vena or something. But so the moment our water project comes, then everything KNUST will be what? TEK in Suo. The name is, councillors approve it. The name is what? TEK in Suo. My chairman will say, any project. So that is another line of investment that will also give us daily, weekly, and monthly inflows. Another policy, another policy, after we've been able to establish the TEK in Suo, is also going to a loan scheme so that members, we will create a fund where members can also access, but they are all in stages. Now we've put a halt. At least we are somewhere with the physical investment in terms of the hostels. The next one we are looking at, which will give us recurrent inflow, is what we are going to is the water project, which we've started. Then we will look at another inflow in terms of loan to members and returns to the scheme. So that is the investment policy of the scheme. So we are now 4,700, and with the hostel business, Now, any hostel business that we will go in will be a unified one, because the unification is in process, is through stages, and we want a backing from by law so that we can go into that. I've gone through almost everything. There's 2007, we did an actuarial evaluation for all the GOS schemes. As at that time, we had what we call 25.2% in terms of funding ratio. When you say funding ratio, what it means is that for a pension scheme like a defined benefit pension scheme like GUSSS, you calculate your assets and you calculate your liability in terms of those who are in when they will retire and the liability. So when you compare the two, the optimum is that you should get assets that can take care of what? All your liabilities. So the optimum is what? 100%. When we did our actuarial evaluation in 2007, all the universities combined, as at that time, then the funding ratio was 25.2%. It meant that if the USS should collapse as at that date, then you can assess only 25.2% of your benefit. That's the meaning of the funding ratio. In 2013, we did another one for the unified one, and we had 69.6. In 2018, the last one that we did also gave us a funding ratio of 96.9. So it means that we are what? We are growing. So those are the facts and figures that we've given to the Minister of Education. We are yet to meet with him in terms of far as the management board is concerned. Then we see the way forward for the GUSSS. So that is the funding ratio. And maybe my chairman would touch on allocation of hostels. My chairman would maybe touch on that. So I think I can end here and invite more questions.
Once again, good afternoon. We thank Chairman of Convocation, Council of Convocation, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and top management. Briefly, I just want to touch on allocation of GOS hostel, the rooms. Well, we noticed that there have been complaints from contributors. Contributors meaning that GAWA and UTAG. People have been complaining that normally when they put in a bid for accommodation for their wards and family members, they do not get. But management of board, GOS, met and observed that usually every year we have less than 600 bed spaces. And we are also mindful of the fact that we are in a university dealing with top management. We recognize the pressure on our Vice Chancellor, Registrar, Finance Officer, etc. So we try as much as possible to make sure they are freed from some of those pressures. So what we did from last year was to look at the ratio of contributors. Last year, we allocated 200 bed spaces, and these bed spaces were managed by UTAG President, Professor Adai Mensah. And I think we gave 60 bed spaces to GAWA, which was also managed by GAWA President. This year, we're hoping that if the bed spaces increase, maybe the allocation will go up. That does not include staff children, because usually it is open and staff children also do apply with the clearance from HR. So they are also catered for. So we just want to plead with contributors to have patience with God's management. We'll try as much as possible to satisfy everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Board Chairman and Mr. Essien. We will open the floor for a few questions to the GOS team.
Thank you very much to the Chair of GOS for the efforts they are making into getting us bed space for our wards. But I would want to suggest that if it's possible, they increase the number of allocations, because we get text message and emails that we should bring names of our wards. Not everybody has a biological child. Sometimes we are taking care of our nephews and nieces. And so if the bed space can be increased a bit for those of us who are contributing, so that if it's not your biological child, but at least you have one niece or nephew, that can also be taken care of. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well noted. So currently, Mr. Ike Appiah is the one taking care of the list of the UTAG. So if a UTAG member and you want not for your biological child, you can go to Mr. Ike Appiah. And Mr. Japon, that is GAWA president, is also taking care of GAWA. If you bring it to our office, we are also compiling. We will send it, if you are a UTAG member, you send it to UTAG office. If you are a GAWA member, you send it to what? GAWA office. So these are the channels.
Okay, Mr. Essien, when you look at the acts, the 2008 Act, National Pension Act, they say we cannot contribute more than 35% of our money, yet your deduction is 25% plus 12 from government. That is 37.
Yeah.
Is it not problematic?
The Act says that for tax exemption purpose,
okay,
that is what is 35%. So even though you can decide to contribute 50% towards your pension, but it's only 35% that will be exempted when we are calculating your tax. So it's not.
Are we enjoying that tax?
Yeah.
So far as all of us are beyond 35.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. My second question is about your long-term investment. Can you build? Can you invest in accommodation for senior members, whereby they can take mortgage and then have the accommodation instead of going to buy land and the hustle?
Yeah. It came up in one of our discussions, but we realized that the investment in building is so huge that it can take more than, if you want to, depending on our salary levels now, it will take about 20 to 30 years before the person can repay it. So it wasn't a good investment for GUSS as at that time. But we can look at it later. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Mine is not a contribution, but a provision of information. Last year, I was fortunate to be among the 3 people who were called upon to come and sit down and look at the location. We had a total of 1,879 requests for 576 species. 1,879 for a total of 570-something species. So no matter what you do, you have to find a certain way of dealing with it. So what we thought was that if GAWA and UTAG are the key contributors, let's give them 260. There has always been this argument about making it an elitist club. Because if you can only get in if you are a staff child. A time will come when that place will become a class. But we also acknowledge that as for staff children, biological staff children, there is nothing you can do about it. So they are the first to be taken care of. And then whatever bed spaces are left are now given to requests. So I just thought I should provide this information so that at least we acknowledge that no matter what we do, if the requests are the same this year, because normally those who are there are given the opportunity of deciding whether they want to continue being there or not. So it is those who graduate that are replaced. I'm able to say this because I was fortunate to sit around the table to look at the actuals. Before I even was called, I also used to have the same impression that the beds are there, why are you not giving it to the people? But when you look at the requests and the bed spaces available, it will be very difficult for everybody's request to be met. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mine is I want to find out first that we have, what do you call it? Employees' contribution and government contribution constitute, is that correct?
Yes.
But you are saying that, like the Social Security one, that the Social Security will then pay you your pension, you understand, and then Tier 2 will pay your lump sum. It's not the case of GOS. Is that the case?
With the GOS, is the Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 combined. So the GOS will pay you your monthly pension, then GOS at the same time pay you your lump sum. I don't know if it's
GOS is paying everything. It means that, but I think I heard you saying that government since 2018 February has not been paying certain. What money are you talking about?
Those on pension. You know, because it's a defined benefit pension scheme, the sponsor, the employer is the sponsor. So when it was established as a way of attracting, retaining, and motivating staff, government was taking care of those who are on pension. So those who are on pension were being paid by government. So it's from February 2018 that the government stopped paying the pensioners. So that was when the GUSS is using its own money to pay the pensioners.
Can we have the basis for that? Because government stopping that money is to the disadvantage of us. And is the government using power to do that or legitimacy to do that? Can you explain?
Yeah, we are still in discussion with government that you should still take care of that. The reason is that once it's an employer-sponsored scheme, it means that if there's any funding gap, it's covered by what? The employer. Because you, as an employee, for instance, somebody is employed as a lecturer, okay? Maybe 10, 15 years, the person will be contribute as a lecturer. Then the next 10 years, the person is promoted from what? Lecturer to senior lecturer. Maybe 2 years to the person's retirement, the person is promoted to what? A full professor. In that case, the salary of a full professor will be used to calculate the person's pension for the 30 years. So in a defined benefit pension scheme, there is always a gap. So that was the reason why government was paying. But now government says that he will no more contribute so far as that one is concerned. But we are still in discussion with government that it should continue because it's his responsibility.
No, but is that the case of Social Security or government has stopped Social Security?
Social Security, you see, you are confusing. The contribution is different from the benefits. Social Security, you contribute to Social Security. It's Social Security scheme that pays you your pension when you retire. Government doesn't come in when it's there. But GUSS was established to attract, retain, and motivate high caliber of staff. That is why the benefits are different from what? The Social Security. When you retire as a GUSS staff, assuming you are with the same payment in terms of contribution to Social Security, and the same number of years, GUSS benefits are better than Social Security?
I want to find out that in the course of what is happening, we have had a situation where God's Secretariat is unable to pay its commitment and has to go somewhere to borrow money. Hasn't been the case?
When it comes to investment, for instance, when we started the hostel project, the first one we built was from our own funds, right? But the second one was a loan from GCB. The third one was a loan from GCB and EcoBank. Or 7-2 was GCB and EcoBank. And with a complex too. So when we are borrowing, we borrow to invest, but not to pay recurrent expenditure. You understand it?
Yes, but I want to say that if it is true that Ghana police and other people does not even contribute to pension, and yet government pay their pension, then it's the responsibility of all of us here to also find out how to struggle to ensure that that payment that government has been doing, and it has stopped 2018 February, everything must be done possible to ensure that it comes back. Other than that, even though I am not an accountant or actuary or whatever it is, if care is not taken, at the latter part that most of us have left, if you are not careful, will not be able to sustain the what do you call it, the payment commitment of the scheme. And we know politicians what they can do. They can do so many things. So I will pause here and then
I think we will take the last question on the GOS issues. So that's the last question, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mine is on the investment. When you were presenting, you looked at the various hostels and then the number of years it took to recover the investment. And I think it's a good thing because already there's a hostel or there's accommodation gap, the deficit. And I think it's a nice opportunity to fill in the gap from what you just presented. And then you just mentioned some loans were taken to start some of the accommodation projects. This is a project where when you start, you know you are going to get consumers or the market is available. So why not focus on that? I don't know about issues about land and things, but at least most of the hostels are on campus. And students would want to stay on campus if they have accommodation there. So if the university is not able to do that or government is not putting up new accommodations and students' numbers keep increasing, why don't we then go in for the loan? Because from your past record, every bank would gladly give you money to invest in that regard. Why don't you take that option than going to the water business? Water business is good, but we are looking at what 2018 government stopped paying pension. So it means there's a lot of pressure and demand to get money to sustain the commitment. Why don't we look at that option instead of deviating to or going to other investment? You can add that because accommodation is something students would definitely need on campus. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As I was presenting, I said that effective financial management of a pension scheme, you ask yourself two questions. What type of pension scheme are you investing in? If it's a defined benefit pension scheme like GUSSS, that's what we use the technical matching. So you match your assets against what? Your liabilities. So you look at your liability. The major outflow of our pension scheme is a lump sum that we pay every year. So that's why we went into the hostel business, so that every year when we collect the money, we can use that one to kick against that liability. Then another recurrent liability is what? Your monthly pension that you pay to pensioners. So then you also need another inflow that will take care of that. So we are now we've been able to satisfy the, what do you call it, the lump sum issue. So at least the inflow. So we also need some recurrent inflows that we can use it to match the recurrent expenditure. So that's why we are now focusing on what? Some recurrent inflow like the water, like some money market investment that will bring it daily, weekly, and monthly inflows. So it's not just ended, but we want to blend our investment portfolio so that we will not be found wanting anytime that we need money. So that's why we are trying to combine it. We will get back to that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much. And thank you, members, for your cooperation so far. We are moving to the last item. I also want to announce that about 80 of our members are also online joining us. We want to acknowledge them. So the last item is not going to be a presentation. Every now and then, members raise issues concerning the university hospital. Today we have the Director of Health Services here, and is ready to take your questions or your concerns or your suggestions. So we want to welcome the Director of Health Services, Dr. Ose Uswansa.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Chairman, council members, Vice Chancellor, University Management. The Council of Convocation visited us some few months ago, and in our interaction, he expressed the concerns of members of Convocation concerning the time they spent at the hospital. And I'm very sure that this is a very important issue on all staff who come to the hospital. And I would, before your questions, if you permit me, Chairman, I would address a few issues. The university hospital, as we all know, is a district hospital serving a very large population. Though its core business is catering the welfare of senior members, senior staff, and junior staff, including their dependents, has in recent times been overwhelmed with attendance. And we've put in a few strategies that would decrease the time senior members in particular spend in the hospital. Not too long ago, we established the hospital, a staff clinic at the OTMC that was very well patronized. Indeed, currently, attendance is so high that time has also increased. Time spent at the hospital has also increased. And so we had to take a critical look. Indeed, about 2 weeks ago, we decided to extend services that we provide to staff. We extended the service for the staff clinic from Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and also to include Saturdays and Sundays. We realized that over the weekends, because the students' clinic was also not operating, the hospital on weekends was overflooded with students. And we also extended the students' clinic time schedule to include weekends. And over the past 2 weeks, indeed, attendance at the hospital by students has really reduced. Time spent by staff at the clinics have also been dramatically reduced. We also thought that it may be wise to open a new center solely for senior members in faculty area. Indeed, we got approval from the Vice Chancellor, and she's granted it, that very soon we'll be establishing a staff clinic in faculty area to cater for senior members who would attend to the hospital. So these are measures that we've put in place so that senior members and colleagues can be seen quickly at the hospital and can have their peace of mind to attend to lectures. Thank you very much.
So any questions, any concerns? Okay. Dr. Muntaka, yeah.
Thank you very much, Director. And sincerely, I must admit that conditions at the hospital in terms of time spent and treatment is improved significantly. There is one hidden issue that I don't know if I don't want to say spice. That is where we have equipment functioning and people say it is not. So you go to do, say, ECG, and then the staff says, oh, it's not working. I tell him it's not doing what? If you don't do the ECG, in fact, I just said it out of nowhere. The Vice Chancellor is waiting in the office for the report. You don't do it, we'll see. Then he says, oh, okay, come, let me see what I can do. And then he does the ECG. So I don't know, I can tell that from where you sit, it will be very difficult for some of these nitty-gritties to come to your attention, but you can just spy around using some people, and you see, equipment is working, and you say it's not. I don't know if that is pressure or something. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that it's unfortunate, and this boils down to the staff at that time. It is not a general rule that people do, and we will continue to look at it and educate them and put the proper staff to do that. And as you said, we'll still monitor and see what would happen. I'm sure it will change. It's not going to happen anymore.
Good evening. I'm Karim Beku from the business school. Please, can we have functional equipment at all units? I sent my son there some time back, I think 2 or 3 weeks, and he just wanted a nebulizer. They ran to the trainers for it has been sent to the OTMC, the OTMC has been sent somewhere. So for that critical period, like they're searching for a nebulizer. So why can't the functional units there have such basic equipment so that when there's time for take or somebody, you don't need to run around searching for a nebulizer or a basic instrument that is needed. So can you check on that, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Every unit, every ward should have the basic equipment, and indeed, it's unfortunate that at the time when it is needed, it has not been recognized that the equipment is malfunctioning. And what they quickly would do is to run to other places where they would get some to use. It was a matter of, I think, supervision from the in-charges for which we have rectified. Indeed, we've established that a senior member responsible for that should go around on a daily basis to ensure that all the basic equipment, the monitors, apparatus, stethoscopes, all are working on a daily basis so that there should not come a time. And this usually happens during the night. But since an incident that was reported to me, we've rectified it and it's not happening anymore.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Esther Amemo. I don't know. I just need to get some clarification. Per our parent, for instance, you have a parent and you go to the hospital. I have personally experienced that, where I sent my dad, and then I was told, oh, we don't attend to your parents at the OTMC. So we went to the main OPD. And I ended up spending the whole day there. So I asked myself, what is the difference then? I'm the same person who brought my dad. And if I could be attended to quickly enough for me to go back to my work, and then the same way I am with my dad, and I cannot be attended to in such a short time, then what is the benefit to me? So I don't know what measures are there to help us, because at times we just find ourselves doubling up for some other duties. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, it's unfortunate. I think that in any situation, one would have gone the further step and asked your dad to be seen. And perhaps the staff there at that time was playing by the book, which of course should not be the case. The definition of a dependent, as per the university conditions, is the spouse and children, and registered as such. However, if staff should find the father or the mother, the siblings ill and should bring to the hospital through the staff clinic, I think that in the interest of health, one would say, let's attend to them. We will try and educate our staff on the spot there to try and accommodate such. It is just that if you are not too careful, then it doesn't become a staff clinic anymore. But we'll try and then accommodate such.
Hello, yeah, Dr. Fremponchum, Computer Science. Please, I recall I even came to you on this issue regarding pharmacy department or the pharmacy unit taking too long than the consultation itself. And I recall you on that said day pointed to UPS, that UPS were to be replaced. I'm just asking, is it an IT issue or is just the pharmacy working slow as compared to consultation? Well, ideally, consultation should take longer than pharmacy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I remember the incident clearly. And on that particular day, it was the issue with the IT. The UPS was malfunctioning, and because we ran an electronic medical records, it had to cause a delay. It's been rectified, and also, yes, it is true. Generally, there's a bit of delay at the pharmacy, at the OTMC. Now, what it was because the hospital is expanding so fast. We have a lot of specialists from the College of Health Sciences who are practicing there. And these come with numbers. Unfortunately, these were being done at the OTMC, coinciding with staff clinic there. What we've done now is to shift the specialist clinics to the afternoons, where attendance is a bit low, and also free up space at the pharmacy so that now it is easier getting your medications quickly. And so it's no more as it is on that particular day. Thank you very much.
I think we will thank you. That's the last one. Yeah. Please always use our platforms to address extra issues. We have the UTAG, the Convocation Telegram page where you can raise some of these issues, then we can find solutions to them. I want to give the Vice Chancellor a slot to address the gathering, but before that, the head of KWAPU wants to make a very short presentation, then he wants to show us the so
So as has already been explained, the lanyards for the students and the staff is the same. And so when you have some staff walk into some offices, based on how they look, there are instances where they are treated as though they are students. I remember a story when a staff once said, as a result of such incidents, he actually had to grow a beard so that there could be that distinction between the staff and the student. As a result of that, as a result of that, a decision was taken to come up with a lanyard which is different from that of the students. And the Department of Communication Design was required to organize a competition among the students, and then a number of samples were presented, considered before Executive Committee, and then the Welfare Services Board. And after looking at the 4 best samples which were presented, the Welfare Services Board settled on what we have. And so moving forward, we will initiate processes so that by the beginning of next academic year, we will replace the staff lanyards with this one. And we have barely around 5,000 staff around, and basically what we will do is that we'll produce this and then replace what you have with this one. And so basically that is where we are as far as the lanyards are concerned. Thank you.
I don't think there should be questions about this. A decision has been made already.
No, Mr. Chairman, it's not a decision because some time ago, Welfare Service Board, this issue came up that we have staff having 2 cars, or sometimes your wife wants to use your car outside. Now, when she wants to use the Bomsu gate, they said no, because at that time the tag management is saying that I should hang it, you understand? So we made a demand that then there should be another card for my wife so that she can access Bomsu gate. Because if you said my wife should go to main gate and struggle with trotro drivers over there, you create confusion in my home in the evening. So we said that, you understand? So we want to find out whether university is in the process of doing that or that has not been done. So,
yeah. I think you are raising a different issue from. Yeah, you are asking for 2 cards. Is that not it?
So I'm saying that a decision taken at the Welfare Service Board, not the current Vice Chancellor's time. So I'm asking whether he has been tasked with that or it's not, so that we know where to channel. When VC comes, we ask her that this is the decision we have taken. What is she doing?
Okay.
So
I think if VC comes, she might address that one. So
okay.
Let's welcome the Vice Chancellor.
Mr. Chasata, we are very much interested in what happens at home at night as a university. We are so interested in that as management. And let us assure you that as we speak, your wife, you are able to get a card for your wife from the Deputy Registrar General's office. You can do that easily. Because you see, when you're home, when there is storm at home, KNUST, we can't move on. So we are very much interested. Thank you. Thank you. Chairman of Convocation, Council of Convocation, members of Convocation, I greet all of you. Let me start by saying well done to you, Chair, and your council for the good work that you are doing. And I do this on behalf of management, staff, students, and the entire university community. Thank you very much. Indeed, you are doing exactly what you are put there to do and more, because that is what our status leverages you to do for us, to ensure that what we do as a university, we are able to do it efficiently and effectively. And you are unique in your own right, because you have the chance to have an opinion based on our status on all these, and we are grateful that you are allowing yourself to be used in that manner. Thank you very much. Having said that, members of Convocation, let me, on behalf of management, salute you. And sometimes, as human as we are, when we are in the middle of the heat, the story is different. When we are kind of moving out, it's also different. But if you would permit me, I just want to send all of us our minds back to January, or even latter part of last year, or maybe from 16th March last year, when we all got hit by this pandemic. It was not an easy thing. Led by our Vice Chancellor, then Professor Obri Danso, after the initial shocks and all that, we weathered the storm. We rode on the shoulders of each other. We worked together as a team. The KNUST spirit was there. The family spirit, we survived. We finished the academic year then, and then we were faced with this academic year that we are in. Similarly, we did likewise. We all agreed with government support that we were coming back in January. How are we going to come back? We subjected it to debate. You and I know at KNUST, your voice is important. Backwards and forward conversations at the colleges, everywhere. Eventually, we all agreed that it's good that we bring all our students back. That was a very, very bold decision that you and I made. And we didn't take those decisions without trepidations, because we were all aware of how this pandemic was going. So even though on some campuses they had agreed that they would do shift system, KNUST, you and I said, with God on our side, with hard work, let us bring everybody. And here we are today. But for the little, I call it little hitch. But for the little hitch we have, we're going to start our exams next week. But even with the hitch, I know that the leadership of UTAG is working feverishly with government. And I believe that we will be able to navigate this storm as well, so that sooner or later, we can be confident and say that by the grace of God, this academic year has ended. I think that you deserve a big round of applause. Convocation. Management couldn't have done this alone, you know that. It has been tough. But when it got that tough, you were tough too. And with prayer, with commitment, with dedication, with the selflessness, with sacrifice, here we are. Once again, I would like to say thank you very much. Indeed, we are not out of the woods yet, as you are aware. Now we move from Delta. Where did we start from? Alpha, Delta. Now we have jumped to Lambda. In terms of the mutations of the virus, and it is getting worrying. The third wave is with us. May God forbid that the predictions that they made for the continent of Africa, and when I say they, you understand, may it never happen, so that we can get out of this third wave in one piece. But colleagues, you would recall that for us to come this far, it didn't take management. It took you. It took you ensuring that our students are maxed up. We also rode on the commitment of the students. They're putting themselves into COVID ambassadors. But you can see that when we are in the lecture halls, hopefully they are maxed up. When you meet them at the commercial area, what is happening? Are they maxed up? We have to keep, they are like the children we have at home. We have to keep an eye on them. We have to keep reminding them. As I sat there, I'm looking at them, and you can turn and look at them. Just do your own statistics, because they are not with us in the lecture halls. And you know that this evening, as we speak, you know the SRC election is going on. I'm sure you've followed what is going on. We had some disturbances with their vetting, and therefore all that activity was suspended. We met as executive committee. We put a fact-finding committee together. Thankfully, last week we received the Banfo report. They worked so hard to give us a very prompt response, and based on that, we are running with the recommendations. But we needed to agree that before they went home, we put leadership in place, because we had to endure a lot because of the interim management leadership that we dealt with. So the lessons were learned. So as we speak now and as we sit here today, they are undergoing, and as you are aware, the SRC election, which should end at 5 o'clock. So you can just see them. I don't think tonight they will sleep for us to sleep some. But whatever it is, God is with us. I want to, on behalf of management, assure all of you, and also plead with all of you, that we will continue to work and walk with you on this journey that we are all embarking on. And Mr. Chasata, I promise you, the Vice Chancellor would definitely give an address to Convocation. And we are working on that. And as Chairman said, it will not be long. We will be very happy to project to you where we are as a university, because it's very important, so that we can all be on the same page, and then you can be given the opportunity to also air out what you think would be the best, or any ideas that you may have. Let me plead with all of us once again that we are not out of the woods yet. Please, I know that some of us, I don't know whether by nature or by nurture, we have turned ourselves into some pocket doctors, whether we have a degree in medicine or not. So that when we begin to feel some symptoms, we want to hold on a bit and then see what happens. I think listening to to Dr. Usu Ansa, the rector, please, however tiny or small, or whatever value you put to your discomfort, don't wait too long on your own. Seek help, because we cannot afford to lose any of us. On that note, Chairman of Convocation, council members, convocation members. I want to thank all of you very much and continue to solicit for your continuing support so that KNUST will continue to be that beam that shines for everyone. You are aware, and as we shared during the vision that you and I have agreed on for the next 4 years, that we have turned 70 years this year. Because of the COVID, it slowed down the work of, maybe not the work of the committee, because they have worked very hard. And this committee is chaired, as you are aware, by the former Vice Chancellor, Professor W.O. Ellis. They have worked so hard. Very soon, our Chancellor will do the inauguration for us, and then we will use the blended approach to be able to at least mark a certain level of celebration. You know that we can't have it as we would have if COVID was not there. But whatever happens, we will look at the situation and take decisions that is in the best interest of KNUST. I thank you all very much, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor, for this address. We will, another round of applause for her. We've gone beyond our 2 hours, so we want to take AOB. But before that, as the Vice Chancellor, we met her this week. She made a special appeal that has been going on already on the profiles, our profiles on the university website, and also on the departmental and college websites. We have been appealed to update them. I have started updating mine today, so I want to appeal to all of you to start updating your profiles. And that's what will make us visible to the world. So please, let's find some time to update our profiles. Okay, so let's quickly take a few AOBs and then we would call it a day. Right. Okay, Mr. Atta.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, since Statute 24 of our statute convocation, 25 functions of convocation, in addition to any other powers or function granted by this statute to convocation, it shall be the function of convocation to express opinion on all matters affecting the university and to refer any matter to any university body for consideration. So I want to appeal to GAWA that we know that now court has established, it's a decision of the court that assistant registrar is equivalent to lecturer. That one, it is there. Now, UTAG is on a strike for the demand for its members. We are appealing to GAWA. We are not saying that go and join, but we are saying that they should also take immediate steps so that we don't want a situation where UTAG coming out, then GAWA is also going in. It will affect the running of the university. And so as a result of that, GAWA can write to the fair wages or the government to join the UTAG condition of service. If that cannot be done, then GAWA must also start now so that we will not have problem of almost always impeding the running of the university. And so this is a special advice to GAWA and all of us. Thank you.
Mr. Atta, are you instigating another strike action? All right, next one.
No, but Mr. Chairman, if at the end of the day, 2012, we were here, Mr. Chairman, 2012 we were here when UTAG was giving market premium. And the presumption was that by all means it would be given to what? Gawa. At that time, some of us were not senior members, but I knew and I had information from UTAG circles that under no circumstance that money would be passed on to Gawa. And lo and behold, it was not passed on to Gawa. And Gawa has to also struggle, and they have to even be on strike. I think it's the longest strike we have ever had in the running of the university. I think 3 months or so. And eventually it was given. So if at the time UTAG was starting 2012, they have joined, wouldn't have ended up over there. You understand? So it's a good advice that a consultancy that I ought to be paid.
Okay. I think the Gawa members are here. They've taken note of what you said. Professor Forsen. Then we pick
Mr.
about
Chairman, with due respect, once I have the senior ones here, I want to ask what informed the university to decide to extend headship from 31st July to 31st December? And what are the repercussions on that decision on some of us?
Okay. I don't know whether management registrar is here, so maybe maybe he will answer the okay, I think registrar wants to respond. Yeah.
Because resulting from that, processes which have taken place have not taken place.
Okay.
That issue has affected processes which have taken place, which have not taken. And I will come in at another time when that answer is given.
I think the simple answer is this. Normally, academic year and the headship appointments are conterminous. And so when the academic year was extended, we thought that it was more appropriate for heads of department, the mandate of heads of department to also be extended. Because we didn't find it necessary for instance, 31st December, the academic year hasn't even ended. And then you replace people to be heads of appointment when a lot of things are happening in the department. So we thought that, why don't you extend the terms of heads of department to be in line with the academic calendar? And we took this to council, we took it to the academic board, and they accepted it. So that it will be in line. No, I mean, the academic year hasn't ended. And we thought that if you are head of department, yes, we gave appointment letters. Yes, we gave individual appointment letters. We thought that if the academic year hasn't ended and you are head of department, why don't we extend your term to be in line with the academic year? Because we thought it wasn't prudent enough for us to terminate a head of department's headship appointment in the middle of the academic year. I mean, currently we are processing exams and so on, and heads of department are supposed to be in charge of these things. And then suddenly you terminate the appointment of those headship appointments. We thought it wasn't right. We took it to the academic board accepted it, and council also gave approval.
Thank you, Registrar. I think that should be it. Also, there's one announcement. The Vice Chancellor also has informed us that very soon 2 bins will be provided for every household on campus. Okay, so because we have the recycling plant that needs some of the things we use at home. So one of the bins will be for collecting recycled items like rubber and plastics and things like that for the plant. So that will be given to us very, very soon. I think on that, somebody is asking whether those outside campus will be considered. The Vice Chancellor says you should bring your things to the campus to come and deposit. All right. May somebody move for the closure of the meeting? Okay. Dr. Muntaka. Dr. Muntaka moves. Mr. Chasata, my neighbor, seconds. FO, do you have anything to say? FO wants to do a special announcement. Motivation announcement.
Good afternoon, colleagues. This is just for information. My boss is asking me to let you know that the motivation payment, I was waiting for someone to ask, but you didn't ask. It means that you don't want us to pay you. So, but we've started the checks today. So hopefully by tomorrow or latest Monday, the checks will be at the college. And as usual, once the college receives the check, they will then work on the payment of the motivation for the respective colleges. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you. On that very good note, we want to bring today's meeting to an end. We want to call on the protester chaplain, once again, Reverend Dr. J.W. Achampong, to give us the closing prayer. But he has a special announcement to make before the prayer.
Thank you very much, Council of Convocation Chair, and the Council, Vice Chancellor, Registrar, and all protocols observed. Members of Convocation, let me take a very brief moment of your time to talk about a fundraising drive which has been ongoing for some time concerning the construction of a worship center for the community. For about 2 years ago, some of us have committed themselves to a monthly contribution which is deducted at source every month towards this building. And so I wanted to draw our attention to this possibility. Many of us have been asking about the progress of the work. By the grace of God, we are on it. And very soon, I believe we shall all see a very fast movement of its progress. And so we have the forms here already drafted. You only have to fill in with a very few details, your name and the date, the period of time you want the deduction to be done. It will be sent to the finance office so that at the end of the month, based on the period of time you indicated on the form, some deductions can be made towards the construction of the worship complex. Thank you very much. And so I'll be at the entrance with the forms so that those who are interested, you can pick copies and we'll direct you as to how to go about it. On that note, please shall we rise and have the word of prayer. Almighty and ever-living God, the King of kings and the God of peace, the God of grace, we continue to worship and bless your name for our lives. And we thank you for making us a part of this wonderful family where we can stay together and share ideas concerning our welfare and how we will continue to contribute to the development of this great university. We want to give you all the glory and the praise for how far you have brought us from the beginning of this academic year until now, when we are hopeful that within a very short period of time, we are about to end the academic year. Amidst all the challenges, by your grace and through the leadership you have provided us at various levels, Lord, you have brought us this far, and we say we are grateful. We continue to commend ourselves to you, commending the leadership of this great university before you, asking for your wisdom, your guidance, and your cooperation among all of us, so that each and every one of us will contribute our quota as expected to the development of this university. We thank you for Convocation and the council and the leadership. We thank you for all the deliberations we have had. We pray that you rain your blessings upon them, so that whatever decision we have made here will be implemented to the glory of your name and for our effective stay and work as a community. We commend ourselves to you as a community. We pray for those who are sick, that, Lord, you stretch forth your healing hand and touch them wherever they may be. We pray that, Lord, you meet each and every one of us at the point of our needs, especially those going through all forms of challenges, family challenges, financial challenges, and any form of challenge. We pray same for our students, especially as they have conducted elections today. We pray that your peace will continue to reign amongst us. Take us safely to the end of the semester and academic year, and we will be careful to continue to give you praise and honor. Thank you, Lord, for hearing our prayers. In the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord, we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you all. There is item 13 at the entrance. Please grab yours as you walk out.